Yeah, so you saw my last video. It was pretty intense, uh, pretty pissed off, but honest. But wanted to talk. I think I wanted to start to talk a little bit about the details of my situation. Um, and there's something that I learned recently that kind of pissed me off, but it might serve as a good illustration for this. So we'll start when I was, 16, fucking 17, like fucking 20 years ago almost. So that's when I had my first son, right? Now here's a funny thing about all this, and keep in mind, I've always blamed myself for all of this, for being stupid enough to trust people I shouldn't have, for making decisions I shouldn't have, right? So this isn't a blame game, because I honestly, this isn't about, who's to blame between men or women. You know who really is to blame? It's the state, and I'm trying to make that clear. So this is really just about understanding. But when I was 16, 17, I got a girl pregnant. It was the girl that I had lost my virginity with. I thought maybe we would be a thing for a while. I mean, like I said, I don't think I should have got with her, because I don't really think I liked her that much. I should have just probably stayed a virgin and waited for someone that I actually liked, or just stayed focused like I am now. Of course, I honestly think it was the porn more than anything that kind of fucked up my brain. I think if I would have remained celibate like I am now, I would have been able to think a lot more clearly. But in any case, got a girl pregnant. The details of which are kind of important, because it's a reoccurring theme in my life. So I just want to go over exactly what happened, because what I've noticed in these relationships with these females is that they constantly try to redefine reality. And so, a lot of people talk about abuse, for example, and it's really not when a woman abuses a man. That's really not even the right word, because it's not abuse. It's more like annihilation. It is total annihilation. They are trying to completely destroy your story, your experience, your understanding, your perspective with lies and manipulation. And so this was the first major time that had happened. Excuse me. So what happened was, this girl had broken up with me about a week earlier, and I was like, okay, whatever. Thought we were done. Fine. Don't care. And then, so what happens is, the next weekend, after she breaks up with me, is my first girlfriend, real girlfriend at least. She comes to my house. She knew my mom was working, because my mom always worked the same schedule. We had already been together for about a year before that, so she knew the schedule pretty well. She showed up at my house at a time she knew my mom wasn't working. And again, I'm the stupid one for falling for it, but she comes into my house. She doesn't even really say anything. She literally just walks me to the bedroom, I'm a horny young teenager, so I don't really ask any questions. Get down to business. Do the deed. Now, the whole time we were together, she had been on birth control, right? And when we first started having sex, I used condoms. And she had convinced me, like an idiot, again, to stop using condoms. So we didn't use a condom, thinking the birth control would take care of it. Then we do our deed. She literally packs up. She literally just gets all her shit together right after we're done, starts to walk out. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she gets in the car, and right before, like, she opens the door to her car, I literally remember it like it was yesterday because it's like burned into my fucking brain. She opens the door to her car and she says, "Oh, by the way, I didn't take my birth control." And then like chuckles a little bit, like it's funny, and then closes the door and drives off. And I was like, fuck, right? I didn't really know, I didn't really think much of it, but a couple months later she contacted me, told me she was pregnant, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I tried to like get money, raise money for the kid. She like strung me along the entire pregnancy, like she was gonna let me see the kid. And then the day he was born, she didn't let me in the hospital. I literally stayed in the hospital, refused to leave, and they wouldn't let me in the room. These fucking hospitals act like they're moral arbiters, by the way. What kind of fucking bullshit is this? You guys fucking literally poison people for a living. Go fuck yourself. But in any case, they wouldn't let me see my son. And I refused to leave. So finally, she lets me see him for like 10 minutes, right? And this is, basically the first of 3 times that I would be able to see him before she just finally just cut me out permanently. It's a long story after that. Got a lawyer. Fucking stupid ass legal loophole. She had her boyfriend adopt my son before we filed the paperwork necessary to try to claim him. The courts gave it to her. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. They tried to say I abandoned him. It's all a bunch of horse shit. So that was the first time I thought, actually, I have to go back. I'm going to go visit my father, who I haven't even really spoken to my entire life, soon, and get the full story, because I have a feeling some bullshit went down. I have a feeling this fucking fucked up, corrupt ass system has fucked up my whole life, but I'm going to go talk to him and find out the truth on that note. But since I have been sexually active, this system has definitely been fucking with me. This corrupt bullshit fucking system. So they took all rights to my first son. That was my first experience of being with female. Yay, right? Okay, so then I was about 18 when he was born. So for about 3 years, I was just kind of like a sad, depressed kid. That's when I really started to like first teach myself how to like program and stuff. Like seriously, like I had messed with it previously, but not too much. I think I had like one girlfriend somewhere in there, but nothing really serious. And then that's when I met my wife. And I say wife because check this out. So this is the story from beginning to end. I'm going to give you, like, without going into all the fucked up details of the last 15 years, I'm just going to give you sort of the prophetic overview. So what happened with my first son was very devastating to me. It fucked me up. I always felt like it was the most traumatic thing I had ever gone through. So that was the beginning, right? Now, oh man, it's impossible to sum up 15 years of bullshit in one video. So I basically just wanted to make the point that where I started with my wife, quote unquote, was that she literally showed up to my house one day after meeting her at school, because she always acted like her family was so abusive and she was so abused and blah, 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 blah. She showed up, played that card, said that her family kicked her out, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing was a fucking scam from the fucking beginning. She claimed she was a virgin. Her brother told me she wasn't a virgin. She lies about fucking everything. She is literally, I've never seen this woman tell the truth, so I just assume her brother's correct. I just assume the whole thing was a setup from the beginning. And I assume she's a shameless, evil fucking person who's proud of herself because she thinks she can get away with it. At least that's the energy she gives off. But in any case, she comes to my house, plays this card, says her uncle is so abusive, did all this horrible stuff, blah, 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 blah. Cry, 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 sad, sad, sad. Now, I didn't really like her that much, but we let her stay for a while. You know, my evil, awful, horrible family that she always says is so evil. Helped her out, let her stay. She had tried to like come on to me and I turned her down a couple times. which I think really made her mad. And she kind of like wore me down. Like she asked if I wanted to kiss. I said no. And she was very like, this is like indicative of our entire relationship, basically. Like, she wants me to do something, I don't really want to do it. Then she like just starts subtly manipulating your fucking mind until you fucking finally do what she wants, right? That's her whole fucking life. That's been basically my whole life for the last 15 years. Like with the kissing thing, I was like, because she was like, oh, I never kissed anybody, blah, blah, blah. So after a while, I was like, oh, okay, fine. I guess I'll just show you how to kiss, whatever, right? And then she wanted to have sex. And I'm like, I don't really want to have sex because I had already gotten myself into trouble. She's like, oh, I really want to, blah, blah, blah. This went on for a couple weeks. Finally caved into it, right? Whole fucking thing. Same thing happened when she got pregnant, right? Which, okay, I didn't want to lose another son. But I also didn't want to get married because I already was getting a sense for this girl that she was extremely manipulative and unstable and blah, blah, blah. But she's like, oh, we should get married. And I was like, no, I don't think that we should. And she had her mom try to fucking convince me. She tried to convince me. Then I finally fucking agreed to it after like a month of deliberation. And now, by the way, she tells everybody that it was my idea and I forced her to get married. This is how she works, right? She fucking forces you into a situation and then blames you for it. Classic bait and switch. Endless, always, never ends, literally constant. Like, you can't even fucking believe how persistent and constant this fucking dynamic is with this woman. But to the point that it's hard to even comprehend that someone could be so ruthlessly fucking insane. But in any case, which is why it took me a long time to figure it out, especially when someone's gaslighting you constantly. It kind of fucks up your brain and your memory, and you have to create that distance to even fucking remember. And she doesn't really allow for distance. That's not really her favorite thing, unless she's trying to punish me with the kids like she is now. But in any case, so we end up getting married. I say married because it's never a fucking real marriage. She never fucking gave a fuck about me or anything that I wanted. The whole thing was a fucking scam from the beginning. You know the prolific part? So this video is called Beginning to End, right? Because we started with the horrible trauma of having my son ripped away from me, right? So where this has now ended was with my last daughter. Now, keep in mind, this whole time I was faithful to this woman. She always told a bunch of people I cheated on her, blah, blah, blah. But she actually cheated on me several times. She probably cheated on me more times than I caught her because she's a shameless, ruthless fucking liar. So, and she never tells the truth. Like, you try to get it out of her. The only time you'll ever get the truth out of her is if you catch her red-handed. And then even then, she'll try to lie about it. Like when I caught her cheating like the, second or third time, she tried to make it seem like I was abusing her and it was my fault and blah, 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 all this shit, which she's probably doing now. There's no way she's fucking by herself right now. She's probably doing the same bullshit to some other fucking poor fucking bastard. But in any case, so beginning to end. So this is where we end. Our last daughter was born. The exact same thing. It's like a prolific... It's like a completion of a cycle. My last daughter was born, even though we've been together for 15 years, even though I've always been faithful to this woman, even though she hasn't been faithful to me and treated me like fucking dirt the whole time. She acted like fucking victim her entire pregnancy. She was clearly trying to get me in trouble, which she has been for years now. That's a whole other thing we'll go into. She acted like a fucking psychotic victim her entire pregnancy. I have some video of her fucking insane delusions. But by the end of it, she literally fucking barricaded me out of my own home. Like, ruined an antique 100-year-old door, propping up a bunch of shit against this door that I'm gonna have to pay to fix, right? Because I always have to clean up her messes. Made it seem like I abandoned my kids when she literally barricaded me out of my fucking house. And then when my daughter was born, she refused to allow me at the hospital. Just like my first son. Like, that's right, beginning to end. It all fucking circles back to the same fucking thing. These fucking psychotic, I don't know, like, you're not going to convince me that this shit is happening by accident. You're not going to convince me that like 95% of women are losing their mind in the exact same way by some fucking accident or freak of nature. This is obviously deliberate. This is obviously a trap. This is obviously fucking meant to fucking enslave men like me who would otherwise be using their time to fucking resist the insane incursion of the fucking the corruption of the state. But instead, I have to deal with this shit endlessly every day, all day, because women have been empowered. Do you ever notice that female empowerment always comes at the cost of a man? But why is that? Why do you think that is? Gee, I wonder. In any case, so from beginning to end, my story has been this endless fucking, and again, it's not about blame, it's about understanding. I know what I did. I know what my intentions were. You could say, oh, it was your fucking fault. I know I made a lot of mistakes. I'm more than happy to own up. I never should have fucking trusted her in the first place. I never should have got that first girl pregnant. I never should have fucking stayed in the relationship so long. I never should have let her string me along with all these fucking psychotic manipulations. I never should have put up with it. I never should have done a lot of things, right? But that's not the point. The point is she shouldn't be doing this shit. The state shouldn't be fucking assisting her with kidnapping my fucking goddamn children at this point. She shouldn't be fucking forcing me to relive my worst trauma all over again with my most recent daughter. And here's the kicker. Remember that uncle I told you that she claimed abused her where it all started? Guess what? Guess what she did? My daughter, my most recent daughter, my daughter, okay, not anybody else's, my daughter, guess what? She didn't give her my last name. She gave her her uncle's last name because her uncle's so abusive. Do you see the lie? Do you see the fucking shameless extent of this lie? Her uncle is abusive, by the way. He did. He's a fucking creep. Did all kinds of horrible shit to her and her mother and fucking her entire family. And guess what? She actually admires this dude. She likes this guy because he's the one. He got away with it. He never got in trouble. You see, he was a mastermind. He never had to own up to any of his crimes. And she likes that. She admires that. She admires someone who ran all these fucking schemes, ran all this cover, and fucking ended up getting away with it. Like a fucking sniveling little fucking bitch that he is. And she pretended like she didn't like it to lure me into a 15-year cycle of fucking psychosis. And then at the end, she forces me to relive literally the worst thing that ever happened to me all over again. Not able to be there for the birth of my daughter, not able to be there for my daughter. Her now withholding my daughter and my children, right? Same exact thing, which she's done multiple times, but to do that whole fucking hospital bullshit all over again, just fucking horseshit. And you know what's so funny is when I called the hospital and I told them, because I've already been through this, I've already made the arguments, I told this woman she has no right to the hospital administrator. I told her, you have no right to withhold my child. I have a 14th Amendment right to due process. You can't just unilaterally decide to withhold my child. You know what she said? She laughed at me. These hospital fucking people, they are totally fucking corrupt. They literally enjoy the insane unconstitutional authority that has been put in them. She fucking literally laughed at me because they already know how fucking corrupt it is. They already know the kind of power that they have that they shouldn't have. They're a fucking hospital. They're not a courtroom. What fucking authority do you have to decide whether or not I see my fucking child? You psycho bitch. Fucking laugh at me. What are you laughing about, huh? Did your daddy abandon you too? So stupid. But in any case, you could see how much it upsets me. So that's where we are from beginning to end. Whole thing's a scam. She fucking gives my daughter. This is how the hospitals really work, by the way. If she didn't even put my name on the birth certificate, the women could just not put your name on the birth certificate. Isn't that fucking psychotic? Equal rights, my ass, bro. I think we're all done believing in this idea that men and women have equal rights. Clearly, the women have total fucking control. Clearly, the fucking courts are upholding that, no matter how psychotic they act. In large part, I'm sure there's a few good judges out there who are like trying to do right, but in giant large part, system is fucked, right? Totally. And these women have total authority, and it's like a giant spiritual demonic fucking battle. Like, this fucking bitch names my daughter, gives her the last name of this psychopath who literally trained this bitch to be a world-class fucking manipulative fucking ruthless evil human being. A guy who shouldn't, I swear to God, if he's around, like, if she took my fucking kids around that guy, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, dude, because, like, that motherfucker is, my kids are not safe around that motherfucker or anyone like that motherfucker or anyone she associates with, really, because she doesn't really associate with good, honorable, trustworthy people. So yeah, without going into 15 years of detail, which I am going to do in my book, by the way, because it's an exhaustive cycle of you couldn't even believe. And like I said, it's not abuse, it's annihilation. My entire story has been nearly eliminated. It's taken all of this time, and I'm still processing like the memories and like how to get back my mind. You know what it's taking? You know what it takes? It takes months of celibacy, training harder, you know, in the gym, out on the field running, working my mind, body, and soul. It takes everything, building up everything at once to try and get this back, because she literally tried to annihilate me and take everything from me, my children, my money, everything. And I'm not going to allow that. I know that a lot of men do get annihilated, and it's we're disgusting as a society for allowing this to happen, by the way. Like, everybody acts like men don't matter. That's sort of a suicidal attitude, first of all. Like, men build and protect society. You keep asking like men don't matter, then it's just a matter of time before we get conquered. And we are getting conquered already, by the way. You think this whole immigration thing is a fucking accident? You think as the corruption of the government slowly becomes more and more obvious, you don't think they just import a whole bunch of fucking like third worlders? Because immigration is one thing, but third worlders, people who don't have American ideals, people who don't have the skill set, people who don't have the understanding. Yeah, we're basically in a full-scale invasion, and people are too fat, stupid, and ignorant to even understand. And in any case, I'm not going to stand for this. I know a lot of guys have just laid down and taken it. They don't know what to do. They've been totally annihilated. They don't have the strength. They don't have the understanding. They don't have the willpower. I don't really blame them for that. I mean, I barely have this. I don't know if I'll make it to the end either. Like I said, we should have more compassion for men. And do you know why? It's not for the men themselves. It's because men protect children. If you really have compassion for children, if you really want child trafficking to end, it's totally out of control on a scale that no one has ever fucking even seen before. If you really want that to end, then you need to care about what's happening to men, because men are the only ones who will stop it. Men are the only ones who will put a stop to this shit. Because clearly, women have nearly uncontested unilateral control, literally from beginning to end of my experience. That's all I've ever experienced. You're not going to convince me otherwise. And they're not doing shit. They're the reason why fucking child trafficking is through the roof, because they don't care. They don't even understand. They don't even fucking understand. My fucking wife, quote unquote, tried to divorce 2 times. Doesn't even understand that fucking running off with the kids and going and hanging out with sketchy ass fucking people is like a danger to my children. Too fucking dense, on too much of a fucking power trip to understand. And, you know, for those of you who haven't seen my initial videos, like this hair, this is not a fashion statement. This is a spiritual battle, man. I'm remaining celibate, and I will not cut this hair until this battle is won, or there's an end, until I come to an end or this corruption does, one or the other. I don't care. I'm full scale war now. And that's a synopsis of my story. Obviously, to go into detail would require a lot more time, but I think that's a good overview for now. And guess I'll see you guys in the next video.